Welcome to the WDW Fan Zone Show. I am Stuart Sternberg, and tonight I'm joined by Darlene Nagy, John Maloney, and Kurt. And tonight we're going to discuss touring Disney without using Genie Plus. Is there a benefit to Genie Plus? Is there not a benefit to Genie Plus? Well, we'll let you guys decide as we go through it all. But before we get into that, we got a little special edition tonight on the show where Darlene is going to catch us up on some news items that we may have missed earlier in the week. Actually, we did miss them.
Okay, well, good evening, everyone. On board the Disney Wish, a little family competition never hurt anyone. And we all know that. So I wanted to let you know that there are two new venues you can do as a family. The Hero Zone is a futuristic sports arena. You will have free play sports such as football, air hockey, and ping pong. Hero Zone has an indoor basketball court that can be used to host other activities throughout your voyage as well. Hero Zone is home to the first of a kind in credit games, a high energy obstacle course where families can compete against each other for the ultimate prize of bragging rights. And we know how some people like to brag, Stuart. Just kidding. He's never played in credit games. But with saying that, if you need to take a break, there is plenty of lounge space and a snack bar to grab some food, which we all know we love our snack food. Another part is Luna, a technology advanced lounge outfitted with a 2-story LED screen. That's going to be really big. Wall in its center. At this entertainment hub, your family can enjoy an array of live shows and games where you might just find yourself on stage. At the bar, you can grab a drink as well as show off your Disney knowledge at Disney Villains Game Night. And some of you may see a villain or two or three. That would be really cool. See Corella walking through. Then there is Disney Songbook, where you can sing on the big screen with a live camera crew who's going to project that performance on the big screen. So you'll be seen and heard as you karaoke the night away. You don't want to hear me sing I'm Good in the Car. John, on the other hand, he'll be doing karaoke.
Well, hold on a second. Time out. We don't want to hear you sing, but you're good in the car?
Yeah,
Well, how can you be good in the car and not good out of the car? That's like a person who sings in the shower.
I've tried that karaoke thing. I could sing in the shower, I could sing in the car, but doing the karaoke, I get myself too nervous.
Well, you can sing in two places more than I will ever sing.
Uh, then a couple nights ago, on Tampa 10 News down here, there was a report of the cruise lines and the CDC guidelines going to be changing soon. I don't know how quick Disney Cruise Line is going to be changing, but you might want to contact your MEI and Mouse Fan travel agent, who is our sponsor, on the new guidelines before
There
you
are
do your cruise.
correction. They were our preferred travel
provider.
Provider, yeah, that's it. Now we do not get paid for advertising them. They're that wonderful. We do it for free.
Exactly. So yeah, so I would check and see what the guidelines are, and like if you still need to do proctor tests, non-proctor tests, how far in advance, stuff like that. So just check with them. September 2nd is coming up, so you really want to be prepared for that cruise that you're going to go on. Next up, this is very, very important for next week. Run Disney to the Finish Line and Beyond will be the theme for the surprise springtime Run Disney weekend of 2023. The dates will be April 13th to the 16th. Running for the event of the 10-miler distance run and the challenge surprise challenge this year is going to be Pixar. Now, everybody loves Pixar, so the 5K is going to be Disney Cars. The 10K is going to be Monsters. Toy Story for the 10 miler. Run Disney Springtime Challenge is going to be 19.3. And that's going to have
Finding Dory or Finding Nemo.
yeah, Finding Nemo and Finding Dory. Yes, thank you. Um, they will also have a virtual option this year for those of you that can't make it to the world. So you can start your sign-ups on general registration is going to be the 23rd at 10 a.m. for the Walt Disney World races. Now, the springtime virtual surprise sign-up is going to be August 26th, 2022 at 10 a.m. So mark your calendars for those dates. Sorry, let me get a drink of water. Now, the news Stewart released about the Enchanting Extras collection is going to be returning in October on the 2nd, which is the day after Epcot starts celebrating their 40th anniversary. And the 3 events coming back are the Behind the Seeds tour, the Epcot Seas Adventure Dive Quest, and then the Adventure Dolphin Quest. If you do not want to get your legs wet, you could stay on your land legs for that one. You could start making reservations on August 22nd, 2022 on Disney.com or on the My Disney Experience app. Now, a little bit of Florida news in case you're in town and you wanted to take a break, see something different. There's going to be on Saturday, August 20th, a free ski show. Yes, I did say free. It's going to be at
You also
MLK.
did say ski.
Well, I said ski and free.
Yeah. But skiing in the summer anywhere is a little, like your ears pop up. Mine always pop up.
Woo! So it's a water show. It's going to be at MLK Park, 300 Avenue, Avenue M, Northwest in Winter Haven. It starts at 5 a.m. They mentioned to bring your chair and blanket and enjoy the show. Also coming up is Orlando's Magical Dining returns starting August 26th through October 2nd. I know we've mentioned it in the past. They just released that they have over 100 uh, new restaurants, some old and some new. A lot of them are locally owned. You're going to get a 3-course meal for $40. It's going to be prefixed. So for $40, it's really not bad. So it sounds like a good deal. Also,
And
if
some of them
you
are in Disney Springs.
pardon?
Some of them are in Disney Springs too.
Yes, I didn't look all of them up. The ones I seen in the article that I read in our local paper, they didn't mention anything about the Disney Spring
Yeah,
ones.
there are a few there.
Do you know which ones they are?
I don't, but I did mention them on the show. Oh God, it's the new show that I did by my lonesome that
Oh,
day. So
okay.
I did mention them on that. That was I think a
2
few
weeks
weeks ago.
ago.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. One last bit of news is if you know where Celebration is, it's not very far. It's a hop, skip, and a jump from Disney. Celebration Town Tavern is in that town. Right now, they are having a lobster special. You can get 1 lobster tail for 25, 2 for 40, 3 for 55, plus 1 side. Now, if you want to share, you can share. It's a $10 charge for the share, but it's still that's a great deal for lobster. It's a 1-pound lobster. I had it last night. It was very good. They are located at 741 Front Street in Celebration. And that is the news that I have for this
All right.
week.
And at that restaurant, which also has a bar, there is a very, very excellent bartender there. Now, as
Yes.
most people know, I rarely ever drink, But if I ever did drink, I would want that particular bartender to make my drink. He's that good. And do
He
you want to
is.
mention his name, his first
Yes.
name?
Yes, his name is Brian.
Yeah, so if you want a great drink, ask for Brian to make it. Now he'll get inundated with people asking for him to make
I know,
drinks,
right?
and we'll get in trouble. I'll get in trouble.
No, he's a
All
great
right.
bartender. He's a dear friend of ours.
Yeah. Now, speaking of great, who is greater than Mouse Fan Travel? Nobody. Nobody does it better than Mouse Fan Travel. Nobody plans vacations like Mouse Fan Travel. Nobody comes close to what Mouse Fan Travel can do for you. Ask not what you can do for Mouse Fan Travel. Ask what Mouse Fan Travel can do for you. So whether it's Walt Disney World, Disneyland, an adventure by Disney, a Disney cruise, an awesome Disney cruise, Mouse Fan Travel does it better than anybody else. They plan vacations your way, which is the only way. Forget the rest. Stay with the absolute best. That's Mouse Fan Travel. And to find out about all their great deals going on right now, go to www.mousefantravel.com. That is www.mousefantravel.com. All right, now into the meat of the show. Now, Darlene and I live down here, so for us to tour the parks without using Genie Plus is more common than not. Because if we go to the parks for an hour, 2 hours, or a half a day, that's about all we'll be there. Where if you're on vacation, like John and Kurt, you're going to come down here and spend the better part of a day in the parks because you have limited time to your vacation and time here. Now, I didn't say not to use the lightning lanes, purchase a lightning lane, which is there's one or two rides in each park where you can purchase a lightning lane. But the premise of the show is to tour the parks without using Genie Plus. What are the pros and cons of it? Is it something that when you hear us go through it, you'd want to continue to do when you're here on vacation? Or do you think you've heard enough to say, you know what, I'm not taking a chance, I'm going to purchase Genie Plus? According to Bob Chapek, more than 50% of the guests at Disney World in the last quarter purchased Genie Plus. So let's go through this and see if purchasing Genie Plus is on the right track, or if you can actually make a great vacation out of doing it without purchasing Genie Plus. John, let's start off with you because I know you've got a boatload of information to share.
Well, I have a number of thoughts, and I mean, I'm only looking at it from the perspective of touring without using it. I mean, that's our parameter. So I think what you said is, after listening to it, you're going to make a choice of, can I live without it, or do I still think I want to use it? So
Yeah.
Just looking at it from the perspective of not using Genie Plus, like you say, the first thing that comes to mind to me is to think about what your objective is in touring Disney World. And as you said, we've all been there. We've all been there a lot. I've been going for the last 35 years, and I get there at least once a year. And
Let me get the violins out.
Yeah. I'm not asking for anybody's.
That's great that you've been going there for 35 years.
But the way that I tour and what I do without Genie Plus would be different for somebody, I think, than who comes once every 5 years, once every 10 years.
Yeah.
So what I would say is look to see what you want to accomplish, because one way to do the parks without Genie Plus is just do the attractions that come available, that have shorter waits, maybe not ride as many attractions. However, the one thing that I would say to start with, if what you want to get out of the experience is to get as many good attractions as you can, because you don't get there very often, is you need to look at the timing. Look at the timing of when you go to the parks. What are the best day? There are different sources out there for knowing what are the best times of the year to go. I mean, it's generally always pretty busy, but there's certain times that are not good to go because it's insane. So what's the better time of the year to go, the days of the week to go, and then certainly when you do go, I would I would encourage you to get there before the park opens, before the crowds, because there are going to be a good number of people there to begin with, but the real crowds aren't going to be there till half an hour after the park opens and beyond. So be there before the park opens and get in as many attractions as you can. And then when it gets more crowded, then you can relax a little bit, eat, go tour a resort or whatever. So that's what I'm going to start with.
Yeah, I think that's very good advice. Kurt, would you do things a little differently, or?
Can this be like playing poker? I'll see you're 35 and raise you 15. So, he said a lot of things are right. It would help if you're staying on property and get that extra half hour right now. Not all of us can do that. If you're a local, the last thing these two want to do is make a $150 room reservation just to get in a half hour early.
Very true.
So you'll see it next time. So, when you're a local, you can wait the 2 hours in line because you just don't care as much.
Well, no,
if you're a local, or whatever.
If you're a local, you're not going to wait the 2 hours in line. You're going to come back another day.
Well, that's my point. If you're going to do one attraction and one attraction only, maybe you wait in a line for 2 hours, walk around, do whatever, or like an hour if it seems like it's not that long. Yeah. But you got to get there early, take the break in the middle. And one of the things that I've heard a lot of lately, and I hate giving this out because I haven't tried it yet, during the fireworks, take advantage of the outside corners where they're not closing everything off.
Yep.
Because a lot of people want to see the fireworks, myself included. That's why I haven't taken advantage of that yet. Hit the corners, hit the big attractions at that time. The lines will be substantially longer because everyone wants to see the fireworks.
That's very, very true. I know in the parks, they usually start lining up a couple hours before the fireworks start to get a good spot. So that's a great time to go and do attractions on the outer layers of each individual park. That's Epcot and Magic Kingdom.
Likewise, if they're open late enough, if it's the busy season, once the fireworks are done, the last thing I want to do is head towards the gates because that's what everyone else is doing. Go back and ride something then if you're able to.
Yeah. Take your time, stroll around slowly on your way out if you have to leave, because you do want to avoid those crowds. Just let the large crowds get out first. Oh, it's always nice to be one of the last ones out of a park.
Right.
But I know, I have not used Genie Plus yet, but I have heard some complaints from people, and I know Disney is doing things. They keep making, I think they've made 2 changes in the last 10 days or 2 weeks to address some of the issues that they've incurred, so guests have more of a level playing field. Like when you park hop now, we mentioned this on Tuesday's show, that you have to wait till you're in that park to make your next Genie Plus reservation, rather than make it in the first park you're in before you park hop. So basically you have to wait until after 2 p.m., which does help out other guests who were there in that park that day who haven't had an opportunity to make a Genie Plus reservation for a certain attraction. It gives them a little more of an advantage over the park hopper. And I think, isn't the 7 a.m. reservation going away also? I could be wrong about that.
I know the 7 a.m. is only for people that are staying on site.
And that's still staying in effect.
That's to my knowledge.
Okay.
So that's one of the perks that come on, they want you staying on site.
Yeah, I think that's something, if they got rid of, would also help level the playing field if you had to be in the park to make the reservation.
The nice thing I like about it is there are a lot more openings. Is making people wait till that day to make the Genie Plus reservation is so much better than 60 days out.
Yeah,
where then the people don't show up and it just gets wasted anyways. But we couldn't get in.
Yeah, I agree. But what I'd like to see them do is get rid of that 7 a.m. reservation and give people staying on property. You want to give them a perk for staying on property. Give them an extra reservation to make that day. or do something a little different to give them more incentive to purchase Genie Plus if they haven't, because they're staying on property over somebody who may not be.
I don't know. Make
But
it
having
free.
said that, I mean, that's not the topic of the show tonight. I know, Darlene, you can correct me if I'm wrong. What I generally do is I have a limit in my head on what attraction or how long I'll wait for a certain attraction. If it's a newer attraction like Ratatouille, barring any unforeseen issues like we've had.
Oops. It'll be quick. 2.5 hours later.
For me, it's 40 minutes because I know that 40 minutes is not going to be 40 minutes. It might be 20 minutes, could be a half hour.
Or it could take an hour.
It could. That rarely happens, but it could. So I'll have a limitation. But if you're coming from out of town, and it might be your first time and maybe your only time, and you just can't afford to spend that extra $15 a day because you're a family of 6 or 7 or a group of 6 or
Adds
7.
up quick.
Yeah, it does add up quick per day. So you have to kind of do what John said. Get there as early as you can. Hit as many attractions as you can. Like go for the one favorite one or the one that you most want to do initially before anything else in that park. And something we haven't addressed is, if you're there and you've got limited time, see which one has the lightning lane that you can purchase, and you may want to do that, and try to get that for maybe your second or third attraction, so you can get a couple others in that might be included with Genie Plus. It's all about timing. Darlene, how would you do it if you were here just for a week?
If I was here for just for a week, I think I would go with the lightning lane rides over buying the Genie Plus. After the research I've done for the Genie Plus, I don't really find it as a benefit for me. It would be good, if you're giving me that option to be for a week, but it depends on the cost too. Um, I'm going to say I'm going to work with a budget. Say I had a budget and I'm staying at Port Orleans Riverside. I might do the Genie Plus for Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom. I don't think I would do it for Hollywood Studios or Epcot.
Yeah, you know what? That's fair. I think there are some parks like Epcot. Does Epcot really need Genie Plus? If you use
I
a
don't think
lightning lane,
so.
no, I don't think so either. If you use the lightning lane purchase for Guardians of the Galaxy, you're good.
Yeah.
The longest 2 lines you're gonna have to wait on is Frozen and Ratatouille. And I want to tell you something with Frozen. There was so many people, we've mentioned this on the show countless times. There were so many people that were complaining when it was Maelstrom. Not complaining. There was nobody there when it was Maelstrom. Then people complained when Maelstrom went away.
I think I'm the only one that wrote it.
Yeah.
I used to write it every trip.
You could go on it over and over and over when it was Maelstrom. I loved the attraction then. I love it now. It's got a great theming now with Frozen, which is bringing the people back to the attraction. That's one of the attractions that is worth a wait if you're going to be down here for a short period of time and you're not going to be back for a while. I know my daughter was very upset because every time she's gone to Epcot, and it's been about 2 or 3 times, has not been able to get on Frozen. One time they actually had a lightning lane for it and the ride broke down before she could get on. So they substituted something else for her, but that wasn't the point. The point was that they purchased it just for that.
Yeah, she wanted to get on that one ride.
So things like that can happen. I would say they're not common, but they do happen. It's like with anything else. Nothing is a guarantee. Where am I going with all this? I don't even know.
Where are you going with all of this?
I don't even
We're trying to tour without it. That's why I was getting confused by that.
Yeah,
that line's always at least a 30-minute wait, because even if you see anyone outside, it's going to be 30 minutes inside of circling around in there.
Yeah. going to pretend I'm a Disney suit for a moment. So people have budgets. They don't want to purchase Genie Plus. That's okay. We don't care. You know, we want the people who've got all that extra cash to spend. They'll get it. They'll purchase it. And if they're not happy, so what? Somebody else will be happy the next time. Now, is that true of what they're thinking? I have no idea. Probably not. But, I really do think they're trying to get people to get good value out of it. I've heard a lot of things from people where, and the majority of people who are not getting good value out of it, but I have heard from others who love it for whatever reason. Like I said, I haven't used it, so I can't say myself, John, you have.
Mm-hmm.
And it's helped you.
It.
But I definitely think it's doable that you could tour all the parks without using Genie Plus, but it becomes a little more of a challenge. And if you miss something that you really wanted to go on, Genie Plus could be that deciding factor. But how do we get around that? What are the ways we can get around that to make sure you get everything in that you're looking to do?
Long day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think you still end up having to make choices. And so, I mean, everything's a trade-off. And without, even with Genie Plus, you can't necessarily do all of the attractions. So one of my tips is to find a middle ground with a little bit of flexibility. So, we've talked about, being there earlier, watching the fireworks. You can, go to one of the most popular attractions at the end of the day.
Mhm.
You may have to wait for it, but at least you're not losing touring time in the park. So if the park closes at 10 o'clock and you're in line at 5 till 10, you're not losing any touring time, but you can still get on that attraction. So, so a mixture of being in the right place at the right time to get some of the headliner attractions, but then in between being opportunistic and going on the attractions that have the shorter wait times. And you can look at My Disney Experience to see what's open. You can use
That's
the
what I was
free
just looking
version of Genie, which we've talked about that. I don't think that we think that the suggestions are necessarily the best, or some of the other apps and services that are out there that will give you clues about what time to visit different attractions. So
Absolutely.
kind of that mixture between getting some of the headliners at the best times, but then just ride the attractions that have a line that you're willing to wait for, and maybe not get everything you want to see, but at least enjoy yourself and do some fun things and not spend as much time waiting in the line.
Well, you know what we used to do when we used to take my kids to Disney, we would spend 2 days in each park, generally.
Back when we
So
could afford to do
it was
that.
one
Yeah.
day in Animal Kingdom, and then it was 2 days in Disney's Hollywood. Yeah, 2 days in Disney's Hollywood Studios, 2 days in Epcot, 2 days in Magic Kingdom. So in Epcot and Magic Kingdom, guess what? If we didn't see the fireworks show one night, we saw it in the other night. So the night we did not see it, we were spending our time going to the attractions we couldn't get on earlier in the day for whatever reason. Maybe we couldn't get a fast pass, which is what they had at the time. Maybe the line was too long, we didn't want to wait, or maybe we decided to take a break from the park, which was always nice to go back to the hotel for a couple hours in the afternoon, but we would get everything in. Now, would we get to every single attraction we wanted to do? No, but we prioritized. But it was easier to plan then, because it was basically, if we were doing ADRs, advanced dining, you had that set, so you know what park you were going to. We would always get the park hopper, but we rarely park hop. We would park hop to the park that was staying open late that night.
Yeah, right.
With extra magic hours. Not so much early magic hours, but the late magic hours. So if you give yourself sufficient time, you can get a lot done. And I would say, if you're going to go into, I think it makes it very difficult. If you're going to one park and that's it for one day, you're going to have trouble. I think Disney's Hollywood Studios is very doable in one day.
Yeah.
Animal Kingdom surely is.
Future World would be, but you can't really do Future World and all the World Showcase comfortably in one day.
Yeah, that's a little difficult. I think Disney's made it easier because of all the renovations they're doing.
Well, that's very true also.
But once that park is back to where it should be, I think it's going to be extremely difficult to do in one day.
Well, there's a
And
lot.
Magic Kingdom is near impossible to do in one day.
Oh yeah, definitely. Way too many rides.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
you cannot do the Magic. There are some of the headliner attractions, you might get them on one of the 2 days. You're not going to get them both days. You got to pick and choose. You are not going to get on the Jungle Cruise both of your days when you're there if you want to hit something else instead.
So that's why, and I've said this before, what Disney could do, I'm not recommending this by no means. If they were to raise the price, let's say $15 per ticket, get rid of Genie Plus and bring back something that worked like Fast Pass before, but you get in the park, you can get a Fast Pass, one attraction at a time. That could work. So
don't raise the price, just do it right now.
Yeah, but you know what? They're in it to make money. They're not going to do.
Yeah, but they just raised the ticket prices anyways. When they raised Disney Plus.
Yeah, but they're not getting rid of Genie Plus anytime soon. But if they did, they'd have to justify it by having another revenue stream come in to take its place. They're not going to do it. And would it sit? Well, I remember I did a survey on social media, and most people, actually, it was everybody, said that they would pay a higher ticket price not to have Genie Plus. But that was before Disney started to make these changes to Genie Plus. I don't know what that would look like now if I put another survey out there.
The problem is right now, if you think really hard about that, if you raise the ticket prices and you gave everyone Disney Plus for free, the whole concept of Disney Plus,
Genie Plus,
I'm sorry, would fail. You would have to add more attractions onto it like they did with the Fast Pass lanes. Because the whole purpose of the Genie Plus, to make it easier for you, is that not as many people are using it. Not everyone is using it.
The whole purpose.
If you open it up to everybody to have that availability, then it's not going to be as
no. But it's not just. But it's making sure people can get up. It's bring back Fast Pass in its place.
Sorry, I had to mute. I had a
bring
radio
back Fast Pass to take its place.
And the Fast Pass, there was a Fast Pass for every attraction in the park. Right now, they don't have that. So yes, that's what I was saying. You have to offer more attractions than what they're offering it with right now, because it's not available with every.
And they could do that. They could do that. I think the biggest challenge now with Genie Plus are the people who get into the park and start making their reservations for an attraction then.
You can only do one at a time.
Right, but I think people who can get up at 7 a.m. and make a reservation have a distinct advantage over everyone else.
The thing with that, even with that, like we'd make a reservation at 7 o'clock in the morning, and by the time we're clicking into it, the attraction's not. If everyone's booking the same attraction, you may not have that first attraction until 10:30 or even 11 o'clock.
Right.
Once you enter the park, you have to wait 2 hours before you can make another attraction. So I can't even make a second attraction or book a second attraction until 10 o'clock in the morning if I entered it at 8.
That's not true if you get done with your first attraction.
Correct. However, what I'm saying is if that first attraction isn't till later in the day.
If it's not till later, correct.
That's where I was going with that.
Yeah.
So you're not booking your entire day, is what I'm trying to say. You can't book your entire day.
Yeah.
So, but if you get that one attraction that you had to have, it just might be later in the day. You still have to wait 2 hours once you've entered the park before you can even book another attraction.
You know what? And Darlene, tell me if you've noticed this. One of the things that makes me believe that it's not working great is when I see a long line of people going into the Dory ride at the Living Seas on through the Lightning Lane. That is something that's a walk-on attraction. If you've got to use a Lightning Lane for that, that means nothing else is available.
Correct.
Or they have no idea what they're doing.
Right. Or they have no idea what they're doing. Correct.
Right.
Well, and that happened before with the regular Fast Pass Plus. Is Disney tried to distribute, and people thought, okay, I can't get these other Fast Passes. I'll take the lesser attractions. So that's going to happen with the crowds no matter what.
Now, another complaint I've heard with Genie Plus, not that I want to complain about Genie Plus tonight, that's not what the show's about, are people who will book an attraction that's in one part of the park. They have their next reservation, and it's all the way over to the other side, or they're looking for dining, and they're trying to, because Genie Plus also tries to distribute the crowd throughout the park. They basically try to convince people to go to a certain area depending on the wait times. So there were algorithms or trying to move people around. But if you've got people like me who aren't using Genie Plus,
Right.
that throws it off. Right.
Me too.
It throws it off. So I don't know how accurate they are. Other than the wait, well, even the wait times they're not as accurate as they used to be. They used to be very accurate.
They're
Like
not as
almost
accurate
down
as
to
they
a
used
minute.
to be. And like you said, they are trying to move people around.
Yes.
So if they don't want as many people in Frontierland, they might raise those times a little bit to keep other people from going in that direction.
Yeah, they're not intended to be completely accurate. They're intended to be a mixture of informational as well as in shaping behavior.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I think a misconception with a lot of people is that it doesn't work because it's not accurate. You're absolutely right. It can't be 100% accurate, and they don't want it to be 100% accurate.
Yeah, I think that they certainly adjust it to try to influence behavior.
Yep, they do. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? If you're Disney, it's a good thing. If you're a guest,
you feel
depends on the
deceived.
guest.
You feel deceived.
Yeah. Let's pick Magic Kingdom just for the sake of argument. We're not using Genie Plus. Now, the Lightning Lane in Magic Kingdom,
Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Okay, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. You purchase the Lightning Lane for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Where were you going first? And let's say it's 11 a.m. Where are you going first in that park? You're trying to get as much in the one day you're there.
Half the crowd always goes left. Half the crowd always goes right. It depends on which way you want to go. If you have little kids, you go straight ahead into Fantasyland.
And you know what? I think, judging from what I've seen over the last couple of years, if I'm going into the park first thing in the morning, I'm going to Fantasyland, because Fantasyland is going to get crazy by 11, 12 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first place I'm going. I'm going to try to hit as many attractions as I can over there, and then work my way around the park.
If I go in early in the morning, the first thing I do is I hit Fantasyland to get on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Mm-hmm. Then I normally go over to Haunted Mansion and stuff after I get through with Peter Pan and Small World, and then I work my way around all the way over to Splash, and then I'll go across to Tomorrowland. And
you know what Darlene just said is probably the best way to do it. Now, you would think going to Adventureland next might be better. It's not. You are better off. Now, you could go to Haunted Mansion later in the day too, but I think that's the right way to do it.
See, now
the crowds I've seen there.
When you're mentioning something at Adventureland and then getting their next Genie Plus in like the other half of the park, we've done that. Looked at what the rides are that are in the middle attractions in between there that have a shorter line, and we've walked our way through. So it's like, okay, well, we know we've got to be over here at 1 o'clock. It's 11 o'clock. Why don't we come through here, see what's available? Mm-hmm. We'll hit, Little Mermaid now, since it's got a shorter line. Let's grab some lunch while we're at it. Now let's come over here. We'll grab this one while we're in line for this one. As soon as our magic bands hit, where's our next attraction going to be? Off the attraction. Let's see what else has a shorter line. Let's work our way that way till we get to the next attraction. Now, but that's using Disney Plus or Genie Plus.
Now, if you've got an advanced dining reservation,
you can't get those right now.
Your Genie Plus.
I guess you can. I'm sorry.
So I think it just makes it easier if you're not using Genie Plus to have an advanced dining reservation, so you don't have to worry.
Well, unless you get into a line and you think it's going to be a half an hour and it turns out to be 45 minutes, 50 minutes. So there's so there's things that can get in the way there too. You
Yeah,
might have to leave a bigger gap and lose more of your touring time just to make sure you don't miss the ADR.
now I want to mention something here about certain attractions like Rise of the Resistance, Ratatouille, and Guardians of the Galaxy. If you have a hat on, take the hat off.
Please.
Put it away. Secure everything. Because if something falls on any of those tracks or ride areas there, they shut it down for at least 45 minutes. And if you've got an ADR, you don't want to be the person responsible for ruining your advanced dining reservation or someone else's. I definitely think you could tour the parks without using Genie Plus. I definitely think it could help a lot of people get through the day easier if they have it. Darlene, before you said you wouldn't use it in Hollywood Studios.
No.
So you've got Mickey and Minnie's, which always gets a lot. You've got Rise of the Resistance.
That's normally my first ride.
Rise of the Resistance isn't part of it. That's Lightning Lane.
No,
it's not part. That's not part of Disney Plus. Genie Plus. God, I'm gonna do that every time. That is not. I need to put a stickum right here.
No, Kurt, I get that. No, what I'm trying to. The lines get very long over there, though.
The standby.
Right, the standby line gets very long. You've got
Slinky Dog Dash too.
Oh, that's it, Slinky Dog Dash. So you've got 3 attractions there. Now, I went to Hollywood, and Darlene, I agree with you that you don't need it there. I went there with my brother a couple months ago. I think it was in June sometime, when schools were already out. Kids were all over the place in the park. Parents, adults were everywhere. It was crowded. Not as crowded as I thought it would be on a Sunday, but it was crowded. And we managed to do everything my brother wanted to do. Now, he did not want to do Slinky Dog Dash. But we got onto everything. And he didn't want to do Tower of Terror. So we got onto everything. Oh, no, he did. I'm sorry. He did do he didn't do Tower of Terror. He did Rock and Roller Coaster. We got on everything that he wanted to do. I didn't go on Rock and Roller Coaster because I get sick. But
see, now we walked in the door. We went straight over to we went over to Toy Story Mania, left Toy Story Mania, went straight back to Millennium Falcon. After we got off the Falcon, now the line started getting longer because we had early entry for staying on site. Now the lines got longer. I think we needed to use it in order to get into a shorter line for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Train.
Mm-hmm.
But the line for like Star Tours, like you said, it's dead. It's a 10-minute wait.
Yep.
If it's 20 minutes, come back in 10 minutes. It'll be 10 minutes.
Yep.
The Mickey shorts, that's always a short little line as well for if you just need somewhere to cool off. If Tower of Terror has a long line, a lot of times Rock and Roller Coaster won't, and vice versa. I don't know why. It's the weirdest thing in the world. But they seem to, if one's got a long line, the other one doesn't.
Yeah. You see now, I think there's a little bit of a dilemma, though, in Hollywood Studios, because a lot of people are going to think, okay, do I go to Rise of the Resistance first, or do I go to Mickey and Minnie's? I would suggest going to Mickey and Minnie's because in the evening, if you go to Rise of the Resistance, like if you go during a normal dinner hour, like 6, 7 o'clock, the lines tend to be a little bit less. Maybe not at the height of the summer, but when you get into the fall months, maybe even the spring months, before and after spring break, but not during spring break, I think you'll find during dinner hour, a typical dinner hour, you might find the lines a little less long or lengthy.
Or wait for rain.
Yeah, good idea. But if it doesn't rain, what do you do?
Well, in the summertime, it rains every 3 o'clock. It's like the per.
Are we losing Kurt, or is it me?
I didn't hear him.
I'm here. You were freezing out. I stopped talking.
Because on my end, you were freezing out.
Yeah.
That'll be fun to see what our viewers notice who froze when.
I wonder
Fun
if
of
it's
doing
our
it
weather
all
today. I know we've got some weather going through again this evening,
every
so
day. Yeah, it could be. I have an attic antenna, and I find myself using that a little bit more lately than not. And whenever there's a storm, and I'm lucky where I am, I can get some of the Tampa channels in and all the Orlando channels in. So when there's a storm here, just ABC, for an example, might start flickering in the Orlando channel, but I could pick it up on the Tampa channel where it's clear. And if there's a
Yeah.
storm in the Tampa area, it's vice versa.
crazy.
Yeah.
Why I never went with satellite television. It's
Oh, bless you, John.
Thank you.
So I think Hollywood Studios give, I would do it, Darlene. I would go to Mickey and Minnie's first because that line does get very long very quickly.
It does, and it stays pretty long too,
Yeah, it
especially
does.
if it goes down.
Yep. And it can go. That's another attraction.
Right.
Somebody loses a hat or drops their phone. Ride shuts down for 45 minutes or more. And it's like, I know the cast members are very nice about it with guests. They tell them to please secure their belongings, but guests, you got to start listening more. That goes down a lot. For dumb stuff like I said, people dropping a hat, a phone.
Yeah, you've got to have that floor space clear for those trackless
sensors.
vehicles.
Yeah, it just throws it all off. Let's go to Epcot. Now, Epcot, you know what? If you purchase the Lightning Lane for Guardians, I think you're good. I don't think you need to worry about anything there right now.
Yeah, I don't either.
Are they still doing the queueless line online thing?
The boarding groups.
Yeah,
With boarding groups?
Yep.
I thought they were.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. They're doing that one probably until Tron opens up.
Yeah. I think when Tron opens up, I think you'll see they might take
Seven Dwarfs.
Seven Dwarves off.
Off of
Because-
Or
individual.
they'll
Tron
just
will be
add it
delayed.
and keep both
Or
of them.
they'll
Or they'll
what
add
they'll
it,
do
yeah.
is they'll have Lightning Lane for because there's only one virtual queue per park.
Right.
Or
So,
per all
right.
four parks.
so Tron will become the virtual queue, and Guardians, and Seven Dwarfs will become the Lightning Lane purchase.
I wonder if they'll add a second virtual queue. There's nothing that says they can't do that.
No, there is nothing. We haven't seen it yet. Doesn't mean it won't happen. But in Epcot, it's if you're going to be there for the full day, even if you take an hour or two break, you've got plenty of time to do everything. With everything that's there now, I wouldn't even worry about that part.
As long as, especially if they're running like Soarin' at full capacity.
Yeah. And you know what? I wouldn't even make a suggestion on where to go first there because I don't think it matters. I think if you have to pick one attraction to go to first, it
Test
would be
track.
Remy. I would say Remy.
I'd go Test Track because I'm paying for Remy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I would go to Test Track first and then work our way across over to Soarin'.
And John, where would you go first?
I think it's one of those things where you pick the attraction that's most important to you. That's the headliner. I think for me, I would be going to Remy first, just because I want to make sure I get on it without having to wait, a long time in the queue.
How about you, Darlene? It's tough.
I know. I see right now. I just can't see spending the money on any of them. If money was no object, I would probably get a Lightning Lane for like the most popular ride, which would be Remy in Epcot.
Well, but even outside of having a Lightning Lane, when you first go in the park, if you didn't buy Lightning Lane, you didn't buy.
Yeah, where would you go first?
Plus,
Where would I go first?
Yeah.
Probably Remy, because that would be the most important. Then next would be Frozen.
See, now, something I would find very interesting if my daughter goes to Epcot next time, would she purchase another Lightning Lane for Frozen and try her luck again? Or would she race over there first to get on there and then worry about everything else after that? I think she would race over there first because I know my daughter, she's a chip off the old block. She'll try to save her money and race over there first and try to get on it right away. And if she can't, then she'll try for the Lightning Lane purchase.
And
Yeah.
that's one where I think you can go to it, as soon as the park opens before the line will get long fairly quickly, but get to it when it's less than half an hour maybe, or at the very end of the day. So that would be a nice attraction, a fun attraction to end on. The park closes. Now the thing that you're sacrificing though is Harmonious. So if you're okay, you don't want to see Harmonious, or you've got a park hopper and you can come back just to see that on another day, then if you exchange that time, you can go there for the last 5 minutes, get in the queue, and then see it then, because the line won't be as long and you're not losing touring time. But then
Good points. Let's go to Animal Kingdom. Where are you going first? Darlene, we'll start with you.
Animal Kingdom, I'm going to the safari.
Yeah, that does get crowded quickly. How about you, John?
I'm not going to say the safari, and the reason I'm not going to say the safari, so the safari is no pun intended, is a strange animal. the safari queue can get very long, but then out of nowhere it can go down to nothing. So to me, the safari is one of those attractions where I look to be opportunistic and watch it to see when the queue time goes down, because it inevitably does.
Now, a funny story. Well, it was funny to me, but not in a good way.
Oh,
we went to Animal Kingdom last Friday, and we were only going for 2 hours. That was our max to be in the park and get out. We went to the safari. Line said 30 minutes, and the line's moving quickly. And it's like, this isn't 30 minutes. We're going to be there in 5 minutes. Then it stops.
oh.
All these people coming in with lightning lanes, and it was one after the other after the other. We were there for almost a half hour, waiting as they let all the lightning lane people in.
It's you have to pay attention to it, and even the posted time belies what the real time is a lot.
Well, you know what? It said 30 minutes. We didn't wait.
Well, yeah, and
30 minutes.
Well, yeah, but it can say 30 minutes sometimes, and there's no wait at all.
Yep, absolutely.
So
right through.
To me, if I want to get on the Pandora attraction, Flight of Passage, that's the one that the line just does not get short for.
Yeah, and that's the one I would go to first.
Yeah. So if I wanted to go on Flight of Passage that day, that would be where I would go first.
Yep. And I can tell you, so the safari, you can go sometime late afternoon, and it's hit or miss. There are times where you'll see a long line, and like John said, it could be a walk-on.
Yeah.
And now, see, I actually did Pandora twice in the same day, because we bought it, and then I went back to take pictures over in Pandora, and I looked at the line, and it said it was an hour wait, and I could see it was all the way inside. So if I could see the line is all the way inside and there's no one waiting outside, I went, there's no way this is an hour wait. It was about maybe a half hour, 40 minutes. And I really had nothing to do anyways, because I was waiting for it to get dark. So it got dark. Park's open till 9. It was dark at 9. Sure enough, no one's leaving Pandora. Everyone's still there.
Yeah.
And I just walked around and took pictures. So it's a matter of playing, like you said, playing the game, and you need to know what the lines are going to look like. Luckily, there were times where we'd fly through, and then all of a sudden you just pause and you go, okay, there's the lightning lane, when the lightning lane group just came through. But otherwise, you just move your way through. And by the time it hit 9 o'clock, then it was just anyone that was waiting in line. So, but it was not an hour wait, which was good.
Kurt, I think you're making Darlene cry.
I'm really sorry, Darlene. You paid double that day, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
No, my eyes watering.
Sorry
I have
for
a
those
fan
who
on.
are only sorry for those who are only listening to us and aren't seeing us on the on video. We are on YouTube.
Dry my eye.
Don't watch us on
Get a tear
YouTube
coming
now.
out.
Allergies are bad everywhere right now.
Yeah.
I've wiped my eyes so many times in this day, and it's not
Yeah.
from John's bad jokes or Stuart's bad jokes. Sorry, John.
I was just told that a friend of mine up north said ragweed up there
It's
already
horrible.
started this year, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what? This is early for ragweed.
Yeah, it's horrible. So,
Yeah. Anything else we didn't cover with not using Genie Plus? I think we can't. Well, let's take a quick poll, just amongst the four of us. If you're going to one park, or if you're coming for one time a year, you're spending a week, one park, one day, whatever it is there enough benefit from Genie Plus for that limited time you're going to be here to purchase it each day you're in a park? Or can you get through the parks without it? And I think the answer is a little more complicated than a yes or a no that you would use it or not. And I know John will have that, so I'm not going to start with John. I'm going to start with Kurt.
After using Genie Plus this last trip, we all sat down afterwards and said the same thing. There were certain parks we would definitely use it for again. Magic Kingdom, using it. Epcot, I don't know. I don't know if we'll use it again at Epcot. We'd probably pay for Remy in the Lightning Lane, but I don't know if we'd use the Genie Plus again there. Animal Kingdom, maybe. Disney Hollywood Studios, depends on what we want to see. So there's just not a lot of attractions there. If we can get by without riding Slinky Dog, we could probably get away with it.
Yeah, Darlene.
Okay, if I was coming for 4 days, one day each park, I guess what I would do is I would open up Genie Plus and see how many rides I could get in the day.
And then make that decision.
And then make the decision.
Yeah.
You can't make that decision at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, if you're staying on property, that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go again, Kurt, making her cry.
She's just got to use her DVC points and stay in a resort. I'm making it horrible for her.
All right, John, how about you?
My general inclination is to use it. And I agree with Kurt that the park makes a big difference. The one thing I would add to it, though, is to look at whether you're going to park hop, if you have a park hopper ticket or annual pass. And if you are going to park hop, that colors the decision a little bit, because you have the opportunity to use the Lightning Lane through Genie Plus in both parks. So you have to look at the combination of the attractions between the two. They've made a change now that you can't make them until 2 o'clock for that second park. But so depending on the combination of the parks I'm doing for that day, if I think I'm going to be able to get 3 or more headliner attractions without having to wait, I will do it.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. I would, if I were coming for a week, maybe even if I were coming for a week and a half, I think Magic Kingdom is the only park I would use it in. But I'm going to preface that by saying, for any family coming with young children, and when I say young children, any kids that are preteens and younger, I would definitely get it, because kids will slow you down whether you want to or not. Sometimes parents will slow down because the kids are going too fast too.
Wow.
So it's, if you can afford it and you've got a family, whether it's a small family, a large family, I think it pays. but if that were the case, then I would add Hollywood Studios to it. But I don't think I would do it for Animal Kingdom or Epcot. Epcot, I would never do it for.
Animal Kingdom and Epcot, I think, are the two outliers.
Mhm.
Certainly, if you really want to do Flight of Passage, or I'm trying to think what else in what else?
Mojave River.
Flight of Passage is a lightning lane, individual.
Oh, it's Lightning Lane. You're right.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, that's right.
right. So other than that, I mean,
There's the Nemo show, Lion King.
there's not really something in Animal Kingdom, I think, where you need the Lightning Lane, so you don't
Yeah.
need Genie Plus there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even though they have Lion King back to its full show again, which is awesome.
You're not going to be waiting in a long queue.
No, you're not. You'll get in. Same thing with the Nemo show.
Yeah. And I mean, Expedition Everest, there's times when you don't have a long wait.
Yep. Yeah. All right. I hope we gave people something to think about. I think Disney. I think once Epcot is full, when I say fully open, when the walls come down, when the walls come down, I think they're a little closer to making people utilize Genie Plus. But I think they have to do something with Journey to Imagination. They have to bring that attraction back. Mission Space is another one they need to do something with to bring the lines back. I think if they can do that to both of those attractions, and I'm not talking about, gutting those attractions, but they have to make changes to reimagine them. If they can do that, I think it becomes a must to do Genie Plus in that park.
I thought you were going to break in the Ronald Reagan there. Mr. Chapek, tear down these walls.
We'll
You
leave
didn't
that.
need to, Kurt. You did.
There you go. See? But you're right with Tower, or not Tower Terror, sorry. Mission Space, hey, look, there's an opening. Well, we got time. I guess we'll go over and do Mission Space. It says it's a 20-minute wait. Oh, no, we go with the green line. It's 3. There's never a line for that other one because it's no fun anymore. It
doesn't leave Earth.
Really, it's kind of like flying on the Virgin rocket, the Virgin airline rocket.
I don't know why.
Go up and come down.
Yeah, I think that was a big flop.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they tried hard, but
I don't know if they tried that hard.
Yeah, I did the attraction. I did the attraction, the green version, the easier version, when it was still going to Mars, and that was enjoyable.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sometimes the sake of change for the sake of change
doesn't pay off.
No, it doesn't pay off. Yeah. And Disney almost always gets it right. So to see them have something like that happen is a rare miss.
Except for Imagination when they first redid that.
Yeah, I think they need. Well, we discussed this last week. People can just throw that show from last week and see what we think they should do in those two.
Go back and watch it. Yep.
Yeah. But I think there is potential there from Disney's side for Genie Plus once things get done in Epcot. Animal Kingdom, I still think they need to add a couple more things there. I don't know how they can do that or where they can do that. I think you've got that whole area where Hester and Chester is. And I've mentioned this many times, that if they reimagine that area, they could really bring more involvement with Genie Plus into the park. Same thing with the Kite Tails. Oh my God, Kite Tails! Don't get me started with that. I think it's served its purpose, but its purpose and time of service should be put out to pasture.
I seen it this past week when I was at Animal Kingdom, and I noticed that it was a much shorter show than it used to be.
Good. They tried with that. That was pretty much to have something else for guests to go see, just to relax for a few minutes on those hot concrete benches in the sun.
I stood over near the DVC Asia little area that they got there, standing in the shadows, and that's how we watched it off on the side because we weren't going to be. There's no way we're going into the scorching Florida sun, earth, white reflecting sun back up in your face.
I think they will get to Animal Kingdom at some point to make more additions and changes, but I think that's years off. You can't rebuild everything and not have things open. So they'll get to it. Who knows? We'll see. D23 is coming up in a couple of weeks. Let's see what they have to say. I know there's going to be some major announcements, and I, like everyone else, are sitting on pins and needles waiting to hear what those announcements are. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to make a lot of Disney fans very happy. I think the last couple of years, getting some teases and getting some good things, I think are going to bring great things for this year. Just my opinion. All right, we're out of here. Everybody, be safe. Have a great rest of the week. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
Stuart, when you were in line for the Kilimanjaro safaris, you said you got held up. My guess is that you heard the sound of thundering footsteps and then a voice calling, "Make way, here comes Genie." If you do come, whether you use Genie Plus or not, pack your patience and pack your niceness.
Darling, before you go, John, you got to come in full costume one day for whatever character it is that you're going to sing.
He just made that up on the spot.
I made that up 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I know. That's the only thing. All right, good, darling.
Well, before I let you go, if you're looking to live in Disney or near Disney like Stuart and I do, please contact our dear friend, Victor Naraki. He is our realtor that we used, and he specializes in all the communities surrounding Walt Disney World, new construction resale, second homes, and retirement homes. Just visit him at Disney at Your Doorstep. Step.com. Oh my goodness. Disney at Your Doorstep.com to search for homes that Victor specializes in. Have a magical night. Stay safe and bring an umbrella with you just in case it's going to rain or a poncho.
Poncho, no umbrellas.
Yeah, poncho.
Well, some people like to use those for sunshine now too.
Or a weapon.
No. Don't give them ideas. Good night, everyone.